Right now, I want to welcome to the program from JenJakes.com, on Twitter at JenJakes. Yep, you guessed it. Jen Jakes is with us. Jen, how are you today?
Hey, cold and rainy, but I'm okay.
Cold and rainy. Well, listen, it's Wisconsin and it's February, so you should be lucky it's not cold and snowy.
That's, what we're supposed to get from like a half to 3/4 inch of ice.
Ew.
So
Yuck.
It'll be an interesting next 24 hours.
And it sounds like it's been a pretty interesting past 24 hours, too.
Always an adventure as a parent, right, Cam?
Yeah. So what happened here this weekend? You got word that there had been a threat to one of the schools in your district?
Yep. Yesterday afternoon, we received a notification from our school district from the superintendent saying that they were made aware of a threat on social media, and they did not specify what school it was to. It was just somewhere in our district. And law enforcement was notified and determined that the threat was not credible, but the board did agree to send additional resources to the campus. You know, all of our schools are kind of clumped together down one road just to ensure the children's safety. But, you know, I'm a mom first and foremost, but I'm also a proud NRA member. Shocker, right? But, you know, when things happen, like the Florida shooting last week, my biggest problem is that I put myself in the place of those parents. And the last thing that any of us want, whether we are parents, gun owners, NRA members, it doesn't matter. We're all multifaceted. The last thing that we want is for any of us to have to go through what those parents are dealing with. Obviously, this is affecting my family personally, but I take every situation personally. I really do. So the fact that we're kind of coming up on this threat behind the eight ball did not make me happy whatsoever. And, you know, I've been pushing our school and I've been pushing our local representatives and even the Wisconsin AG to really take a look at what our law states. Because in Wisconsin, we do have the right to carry in schools. And it makes me very upset that I need to take my gun off of me and I am unable to defend myself or innocent lives when I'm on school property. It makes me very upset.
Okay, so what is Wisconsin state law? Because as you say, this you've talked with your local school district about this, and they've said no, Jen. But what does the state law actually say?
So I got in touch with NRA ILA today, and they're looking into it. And I've had congressional attorneys looking into this as well. But currently, under Wisconsin State Statute 948.605, it says citizens can carry on school grounds in accordance with a contract entered into between a school in the school zone and the individual or their employer. That is Wisconsin state law. But somehow these school districts are superseding that law and saying, no, we are going to adhere to the Wisconsin state law that says you can't carry on school grounds. So you just end up going in this perpetual circle with them. And the sad thing is, because we are made out to be such crackpots and, you know, gun-toting idiots, they don't listen to us. And it's beyond frustrating. And I'll be the first one to admit I need to go to more school board meetings. I need to be more vocal. Go figure. I need to be more vocal. But it's frustrating. And half the time you just end up going, I'm not going to be able to change anything. I don't know what else to do. But the fact is we have to continue talking to other parents. We have to continue being the face of a responsible gun owner in our own communities so that this change does eventually happen. If we personally put ourselves out there and tell the people in our community, you know me from the library, from the post office, from the grocery store, from Quick Trip, you know me. I am a gun owner. I am the NRA, and I'm also a parent. Here's how I would like to make sure that our children are safe, whether they're at school, at Quick Trip, or at the local grocery store. We have to take that on ourselves and really just double down and do it more often.
You know, you're exactly right, and it's tough. I mean, as you say, you know, you're a parent. You've got all kinds of stuff going on in the evenings when these school board meetings are typically held. I mean, when I was a Cub reporter back in Oklahoma City, Jen, that was one of my beats was education, and so I would go to all of the area school board meetings, and you know, most of the time, and these are big districts, you know, 20,000 plus students. Right. Most of the time, you had the students who were being honored, and hopefully you had their parents there too. And then maybe you would have had 3 or 4 people who were there to actually watch the proceedings, who were there to comment during the public comment period. That was the typical attendance for a school board meeting. And you're right. Look, we know that the anti-gun activists are mobilized right now, and they are,
Right.
showing up at, hearings in state houses. They're showing up at local school board meetings. We as gun owners can't take our side for granted, right? We can't just assume that, well, I live in a place that, it's got a strong hunting tradition. There are a lot of gun owners around here. I don't have to do anything extra to protect my rights.
Right. And the problem with that is, too, that people on our own side are starting to infight and starting to come after us as well. You have some people saying, hey, well, we need to ban all AR-15s. I'm sorry, excuse me. I mean, in 2017, of the total gun murders, 64.5% were made with handguns. I mean, eliminating or banning one thing is not the answer. It's just not the answer. But we have to have an open discussion. We can't be told, stop lecturing me or stop being a shill for the NRA. We have to continue to speak out. And like I said, I'll be the first one to admit it's really hard for me to speak out because, number one, I can't let people know where my kids go to school. I mean, I get enough threats to myself and my children. I can't open them up to that. So it's frustrating for me. But what I can do is encourage other parents, other NRA members, other law-abiding, responsible, respectful gun owners to speak out in their community because really we are the face of the gun-owning community, and we have to speak up.
Absolutely. Jen, listen, I appreciate you coming on the program. And I got to ask, was it a hard decision for you to send your kids to school today?
It was. I have to say, it really, really was. Because, I mean, I look at my little one and I just think she's so tiny. I mean, she's so tiny. What could she do? But at the end of the day, I am not going to teach my girls to be cowards. I'm not going to have them live in fear. I can't live in fear. I have to trust that everything is in place and everything happens for a reason. And that's really hard as a parent. It really is. And I teared up. I'm honest. I teared up sending her, watching that little body walk into that school, knowing there's nothing I can do. Once she leaves this van, there is nothing I can do. But again, we cannot live in fear. We have to just keep getting out there. Don't be afraid. And especially don't be afraid to keep speaking out and speaking in favor of who we are.
Absolutely. Jen, listen, thank you for coming on the program. Thank you for speaking up and speaking out. And look forward to doing this again very soon.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Cam.
Always a pleasure. Jen Jakes joining us on Twitter again, at Jen Jakes. That would be Jen with 2 N's, Jakes with a C and a Q and a U and an E. And yeah, there you go.